to round two of the Game Plan Online. I'm joined by fellow panellist Paul Mitchell and our special guest today, Terry Eleftheriadis, Berri A-Grade coach. Welcome, Terry.
Thanks. Hello. Pleased to be here.
Good to have you on board, mate.
Absolutely.
So, how are things down at Berri, mate? You'd be cheering after the round one win over Berri Monash, the old rivals?
Oh, it was a good win. I wouldn't say we're cheering. We're just sort of keeping everything under control as it should be. It was our first game, and obviously one we really wanted to win. And it was important for the club that we had to win. But you know, there's a lot to be played between now and season's end. So you know, it's just see how it all pans out for us. But definitely pleasing.
Yeah. I imagine it's a different feel and a different dynamic to the club with so many new faces coming in, but I guess some of them are old faces as well that played at the club before, which helps. Yeah.
I mean, we obviously Dylan Brooks is a lad that I targeted from last year.
Yeah.
Haven't seen him play and coached against Berri when he was playing, and just really tried to pull people back there that have had some kind of link to the footy club. I think that's pretty important. So, you know, that's been good for us, and the two lads that went away, Porter and Milburn, obviously, you know, they needed a year away. They had the year away, and you know, they've come back, found the footy club, you know, different to what it was when they left, obviously. And when you introduce so many new faces to a team like we have, you know, obviously the dynamics all change, and everyone's sort of warm to what's going on, and it's definitely a good feel about the place.
What can you tell us about Grady Oaks? He come with pretty big raps and got named best last week, and all reports performed really well. Oh
look, he's, you know, Grady's. I probably had the pleasure of meeting him. You know, probably one of the first coaches that got to meet him, and he impressed me enormously. He's a terrific lad. You know, just a good country kid. He played his footy in town. Travelled back. You know, he could have played anywhere in Adelaide. You know, but travelled back to Mundalla, which was a fair trip in itself, to play with friends and family and a club he got brought up in. And, you know, we obviously were on the front foot, having had a connection there with Clint Ridgway. Grady's partner is Clint's sister. So I got the opportunity to meet him fairly early in the piece, and it just impressed me. Everything about him. You know, terrific lad, you know, what you want from a footballer. He's also someone else to be part of our community. You know, he also mentioned about coaching and, you know, giving something back to our footy group once he settled. You know, we helped him get employment with one of our building companies in Berri, which is, you know, a bit of a plus because that's what he does. And, you know, we sort of the football. You know, once I'd met him and got to know him pretty well, and you know, I did mention to him that once some footy clubs caught sniff he was within 100 k's of the place, he'll have a fair bit of pressure on him. And look, he handled that all well. He had, you know, obviously had a few approach him, and you know, he never played ducks and drakes with us. He was up front with everything that was going on, and you know, we just got ourselves a quality lad. That was probably the most important thing to me. The fact that he can play footy is a massive bonus, but you know, footy clubs are always in desperate need of good people, you know, and I sort of rate him up there pretty highly.
Yeah, I guess that sort of differs from some of last year's crop who probably didn't do the hard yards when you brought them into the side. The guys you got this year, you know, are all, you know, working hard and like I say, good quality blokes as well. Yeah,
well, I mean, it's always difficult when you're relying on honesty, and you also got to realise that these guys are young.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, when you're 260 k's away and you're relying on people to do the right thing, you can put everything in place and you know, set them up with a club to train at and you know, try they'll follow up and all that. But really, in the end, it comes down to the individuals. You know, they got to be motivated. They got to have a bit of respect in what they're doing. I mean, when they're offering themselves to as contract footballers, you know, they really need to be meeting their end of the bargain and doing all the right things. It virtually becomes an employment thing. So if they don't have a bit of pride in themselves and they don't do the right thing, well, they're only selling themselves short. So we, you know, with last year's guys, I mean, you know, we really didn't recruit, you know, name players or anything. A couple of the lads that did come to the club were basically just through a friendship with one of the lads there. We did everything we could to get them to train, you know, and it was pretty evident they weren't. You know,
no, do so much though, can't you?
Yeah, and you know, we left them out in some games just to bring it home that, you know, we're not sort of just here for a free ride, and it pretty much, you know, and look, there was nothing wrong with the lads, but they, you know, on a different wavelength to what I was and what we needed as a club, so we made a decision pretty quickly that, you know, we weren't going to venture down that path again with them, and you know, let them know that as such. So, you know, this year we had a lot more time.
Yep.
You know, obviously, you know, we kicked off as soon as footy season finished, so we really worked hard on targeting, you know, quality people, and people, you know, these guys are all fit athletes. You know, they like their gym work, they like training all year round. You know, so you knew that straight away they wouldn't be hard work.
Yep.
So, you know, and so far so good. I mean, Matty Allen, who we kept from last year, you know, he's been around footy for a long time, and he can't speak highly enough for how they, you know, they all work together. They all make sure they're at training. I get texts from them if they don't train, which is, you know, pretty fair effort in itself. So, you know, a different type of group, but at this stage, you know, can't fault them.
How's the strength through the club and through the grades? Because I know that's something you're always big on, making sure you've got enough blokes around the club, and you like competitive B-grade 18s, 15s and 13s.
Yeah. Well, I mean, our 13s and our 15s are exceptional. You know, last year the 13s went through undefeated. Kids went up. Their first game this year, you know, they had some kids come up from the 11s. We've got a lot of kids in the 11s program, and kids come up into the 13s. You know, last week the effort was outstanding. You know, scored like 17 or 18 goals in a 13s game, which is a pretty good effort.
It's 1 point as well, I think.
Yeah. Our 15s are fine. Our thirds, you know, we struggled a bit last year, and it probably doesn't help, but we've got some quality ones that play A-grade. You know, we get 4 or 5 that play in the A's, which, you know, sort of you know, takes from their group. But last year you know, we really struggled. We had to forfeit a couple of times. Part of that was also we just we didn't have the numbers in our 2s. You know, they sort of coming and going and not putting in the work, so we just made a point of, you know, we'll forfeit the 2s. So we'll forfeit the 3rds, we'll take the kids up from the 3rds that are training, give them a seconds game, and leave these blokes out that aren't doing the right thing by the club. So that's what we've done, and they got to play a game of footy. You know, they didn't have a successful year, but we put a lot of time into them over the summer. You know, we sort of started a training program basically from the get-go as soon as footy was finished, and for a group of kids that got belted week in, week out, you know, we went through the whole of summer getting 18, 19 at this summer program, you know, which was fantastic. So our 3rds this year are a lot stronger, numbers-wise. You know, we're up at, you know, that 24, 25, so it's nearly double. And our 2s numbers are a lot better than last year, but again, you know, we don't see them on the track. That's probably my biggest concern is, you know, these guys are probably taking B-grade footy to the 5th degree. You know, these guys are dead set B-graders. They just come out on Saturday and have a kick, and it's not what you want at a footy club. It's not ideal, but, you know, we got a responsibility to make sure we put a team out there and people get a game of footy. Well, it probably is. Yeah. It's frustrating. It's really frustrating, but I don't know how other clubs fare with it, but it is hard work.
Yeah, it would be B-grade coaching, the worst job in the club, really.
It is. I think it's very difficult.
Just on last week, Terry, I know that Barmer are a bit of an unknown quantity and you were a bit of an unknown quantity. Did you think before the game that, you know, that you'd go as well as you did? I mean, you've won by 3 or 4 goals and started the year off really well.
Oh, look, I mean, we've trialled really well. Our trials have been good, and we've had some quality opposition. You know, we did play against some really good sides, and everything I've seen about our trial games, you know, had me going into round 1 feeling quite comfortable with our group. The players we brought into the side are quality A-grade footballers. I believe our squad, you know, does go fairly deep, where last year, you know, while we pushed sides and we tested sides, you know, we had that 20 minutes or 25 minutes where we got spanked, and I just felt you can't, you know, going into it and being around long enough, I just thought you can't go into a season with this kind of turnover in personnel not improve. How far we improve, it's sort of subject to how everyone else is. But I went into that game feeling quite comfortable with our group.
Excellent. Just quickly, just one last thing. Just quickly touch on it. Cara Hoffman, we've got her on the back page of today's Pioneer. I imagine it'd be pretty tough to see, her coaching and Pete's daughter, obviously, and great start by her and Shannon with the under-13s. Great to see a female involved.
She told me off on training. I couldn't get hold of her quick enough to warn her about you blokes, but she didn't answer a message either. So she come up to me as soon as she saw me at training last night and said to me, "What was all this about? How come I didn't know?" I said, "Well, I tried to get hold of you. I left you a message." And she goes, "Oh, how embarrassing." And I said, "No, you should feel proud about what you're doing. I mean, it's not easy to go into a sport that obviously isn't their domain, you might say. And she's been around it for a few years now. She's accredited. She's done all the accreditation. She, loves it. She's right into. She B-grade managed last year, so she's always been around it quite a bit. And the idea of the two co-coaching obviously was, first time.
Yep.
Shannon's had a bit more experience, so it sort of, helps her, guides her a little bit as well. And I'm pretty certain over the next few years you'll see her coaching, outright on her own at some level. She might even be the first senior female coach.
She did say in the article today that she wasn't going out there saying that, just to let people know. But
no, well, it's good. I mean, that's what you want. I mean, you want people. They might see it differently to how we see footy, and we're born and bred in it, and we have a perception of how footy should be, and someone that grows into it like she has might see it completely differently, and might put a whole different spin on football. So I reckon it's fantastic, and so far she's enjoying it, and that's the main thing.
Yeah, that's good, excellent. All right, well, we'll quickly run through this week's games and just a few ins and outs. So we'll start on the Loxton v Berri game, obviously. Loxton with brought in Zach Kirk, who I reckon used to play for East Murray. He's got a good leap on him, and they've brought him in with young Lewis Cregan. But they've got Bryce Williams out, who's got a bit of a busted finger from what I understand. He could need some surgery. And young Shay Lange, he was pretty handy for him last week until he went down injured. So a couple of injuries there. For you guys, lefty, obviously Jared Brock comes in for his first game, which is great. I guess we can talk about him in a sec. And then a few young fellas there, Ben Schmerlek, Ash Kemp and Josh Willis, with a few out there with Dustin From, Zach Ongley, Rory Carell and Jeff Hutt. And you got a couple of milestones this week, mate, with Saf and Greg White, which is great to see Greg bringing up 200.
Yeah, a couple of the old stages there. It's a fair effort. I mean, Greg was retired at the end of last year, and I sort of said to him, it's pretty early to call. I still think he offers, and that's why he's there. He offers our group a fair bit. Yep. So just over the course of the summer, had a few chats with him. We were going to put him on a restricted plan, but once he got out there, he's just like Greg White's full steam ahead, and he's fine. And it's a fair effort to play that volume of games for your footy side. And Saf, moved into the area to play 150 A-grade games. He's been captain for quite a few years, so it's a great effort on both of their behalves. So hopefully, the guys turn out a good performance for them.
Yeah, excellent. Well, I think pretty sure in tomorrow's game plan I've tipped Berri, but I reckon this one could go either way. It's going to be a good one. What do you reckon, Mitch?
Just for some balance, I'll tip Loxton.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, just for balance only.
Not because you sit next to me.
No, not at all.
I'd be more likely to make me tip Berri, in fact. Okay, next game we'll go is the Anzac Day clash. Late start, about 4:20, something like that. 4:40,
I think it is.
4:40?
About 2 hours after normal.
Hang on,
2 hours.
I've got it in the Pioneer here somewhere. 4:30.
4:30. There we go.
4:30 down at Wakery there. For the home side first, ins we've got Elliot Modra, Craig Wilson and Shane McKinnon, and outs at this stage Ben Schiller, Jared Byrne and Tristan Geeman. Now Barmer Monash, there's a few stories here. Ins we've got Adam Gross, last year's leading goal kicker, Matty Wilden, Jesse Bannister, Chad Hamilton and Brodie Frid. And the outs we've got Ken Carpenter, good against Berri last week, Brad Rosensweig, and the two Millard boys, Danny and Dylan Millard. So there's some significant outs for Barmer Monash there. What do you think of the Roos last week first hand, Terry?
Oh, look, I thought, I mean, it was a tough game. It was a tough opposition. You know, it was probably nothing I didn't expect from them. They've got some good big lads and some of the young lads. I think all the young lads that he ran all acquitted themselves fine. You know, they all put in pretty good performances. And he has got a fair list of young ones running around. So they probably lack a little bit of experience. You know, young Steve Burton, first up on the ball. You know, it's a big ask for a young lad to step into senior footy. I know he had a few games last year, but I mean, he's still learning his craft and he, you know, accounted for himself quite well. But, you know, it is a lot of pressure on those kids to try and step up week in, week out.
And you were in a similar position last year, weren't you?
Yeah, and you do. And you basically just hope they learn from it. You know, they get in there. The unfortunate thing is you do put so much value on what they do because they virtually are your main player, where they should be playing bit roles and getting to, you know, basically get a feel for the game and learn and be able to make mistakes. So, you know, right there where it's cutthroat and they can't make mistakes, they have to win the footy and it's a big ask for them. But, you know, they've still got the nucleus there, you know, Middleton and Jakey Smith. You know, obviously losing the Millard boys is really going to hurt them. You know, both boys, I mean, they're both quality footballers. So, and you got to allow for the new guys to find their feet. I mean, a lot of people come up here to Riverland footy and, you know, it's not quite as it's not quite as you know, easy as people think. It's a pretty tough comp. You know, we've got big ovals. You know, you got to work pretty hard for your kicks and as is always, when there's a focus on individuals, you tend to find the opponents step up a little bit harder and work a bit harder on them too. So
who's your pick for this game, Terry?
Oh, look, just with all those outs, you know, I mean, they're losing some pretty key footballers. You know, you'd have to go Wakery, but it wouldn't surprise me if Barmer do win. But I'd say Wakery.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Wakery too strong, even though they've got a few outs there. I think Wakery too strong.
I'll go Wakery as well.
Beautiful. All right, so the last game for the Riverland comp is Renmark and Loxton North. Now, Renmark were reasonably impressive from what I understand against Wakery last week. Took it up to them for a while. They've lost young Rolly Byrne for a couple of months with a neck injury, which is pretty sad because he's a good young up-and-coming player for them and a good lad too. Brandon Persnos and Charlie Weiss also out this week, and then they bring in Troy Britton, Kane Pedler, who's Westies listed, he's still down there playing, I think, and Mitchell Jenke, I think is the first gamer for the Rovers. Loxton North, a couple of big outs. Josh Nelson out with a bit of a knee injury. Could be 3 weeks, maybe 4. They'd be hoping he'd be back sooner, of course. And Michael Arnold out as well. And they're bringing in a couple of young lads by the name of Mason Eckerman and Reece McKenzie. So what do we think about this one, Mitch?
Oh, gee, it's tough. Those two outs really, for Loxton North, really level it up.
Yep.
Renmark not too far away last week, and we had Trevor Thorpe here last week as well. Look, I'm going to go for Renmark in a bit of an upset. There you go.
Yeah, Lefty.
This is a Renmark, isn't it?
It is a Renmark, yeah.
Yeah, I think the same. I think Renmark is still a bit unknown. Loxton North, you know what you get, but the key to Loxton North too is, you know, and I've had the pleasure of coaching a lad, is their spiritual leader, you know, Michael Arnold. There's no, you know, their success, you know, when he's been away, they struggled. When he's come back, they won flags. He's a massive part of that side, and you know, it wouldn't, you know, I think it's a bigger loss than what probably people put value on.
Yeah.
Renmark at home, I reckon they play that over well. Everyone else seems to get sucked into playing it wrong, and just those outs might even up a bit. And also Renmark being unknown.
Yeah.
I think, I'd go for Renmark this game.
No worries. Well, I'm going to go Loxton North, but I think it's going to be very, very close. I think it's, it should go down to the wire. So we'll quickly rip through the independents. We've got the Anzac Day game on down at Rook between the Warriors and Brownsville. So it's Rook's first game. So just list a few of their ins quickly. Jack Barker's come back to the club now, which is great to see for the Warriors. Zach Butterworth come across from Barmer Monash. And quite a few of the, I think Matt Nisbet, I think he's a Barmer boy.
I don't know much about him.
Yeah, I think and Lyndon Goodman's come across from Paringa. And you know, but they might have a few out as well. Terry Packer with his knee. I don't know how much football he'll play this year, if at all. And there's quite a few others that are sort of verging on retirement. So they're going to be a different look side. And Brownsville, they've picked up James Faggot, which is a big in because that forward line's already pretty handy. So we'll just quickly get some tips for these ones, boys. Mitch?
Hurts me to tip against the Warriors down there in Marook, but I think they've got a wedding as well tomorrow, so they might be a bit down on manpower, so I'll go with Brownswell.
Yep, Lefty.
Yeah, I'm thinking Brownswell. I mean, my info is Marook's not the side it was last year, so they got a lot of outs to replace, and Brownswell powered along a bit last week, didn't they?
Yeah,
so,
pretty comfortable with.
Yeah, I think Brownswell.
Yep, and I agree. Brownsville as well. All right, Mitch, want to run through Lurip and Wunka, which is played at Lurip. It's originally scheduled at Wunka, but they've moved it to Lurip because the oval's not up to scratch out there.
Now, hang on, this is out of order. I was going to do Marook.
It is.
You've done that out of order, but anyway, I'll keep on going. So Lurip, really big in here. Someone you know about, Lefty. Trav Wilson's an in, we understand. And out we've got Sam Atkins and Dillo's mate Dean Hill, and we haven't got any ins or outs for Wunka yet. So not sure what to expect.
I think there's still a few to come back in for Wunka.
I spoke to Mick Durden last Saturday morning, and he told me they had quite a few out last week. So I think we can expect a stronger Wunka side this week. Don't know who to tip here. I think I'll go Wunka.
Yeah, I'm with Wunka as well.
Terry?
Well, I'm going to go to Lurip. I think they're not too bad a side. They push you boys, and Travis will definitely add a bit. You know, as long as he just worries about playing footy and doesn't get thrown off his game, he can definitely add a bit to that group. So I'd say Lurip.
Yeah, very good. Do you want to do the last one then, Mitch?
Okay, thanks. Last game we have Paringa and Cobby, the old enemies. No love lost between these two teams normally. In for Paringa we've got Mick Miller and Dwayne Angel, and out we've got Jono Wood and Pete Siddle. That's a big out, I know, Dillo.
Both big outs.
In for, well, both big outs, exactly. And in for Cobby we've got a fellow called Scott Blockley. So Cobby got done pretty comfortably last week, and you guys had a good win over Lurip, so I'm going to tip Paringa in this one.
Yep.
You're going to tip Paringa, I think.
Obviously.
Yep. Terry?
Yeah, Paringa. I think Cobby's a very young side. From my understanding, they've got a lot of young kids playing, so again it's going to take them some time to find their feet. So I know, just talking to Dillo, Paringa's been going about their business and powering on through the summer, so I'd expect them to be one of the benchmarks this year.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Just put some pressure on you there, Dillo.
He doesn't last week, actually.
Actually, I did that to him last week. Yeah, he doesn't like it.
We've got a few out tomorrow, so it'll be interesting to see how some of our guys step up, because we've got quite a few out with injury and unavailability. Pete said was probably going to play 6 or 7 games for us throughout the year, which is a bit of a shame because he's up in the mines. But and Jono's probably only out for the one, hopefully.
So you're running best and fairest, Jono, or not?
Yeah, missed 5 games last year and won that BNF, and our captain too. So Sam Frung will step up as captain tomorrow. Good opportunity for him, and hopefully we'll get a good crowd out there on Sunday.
Well said, Coach.
Indeed. Righto. Well, that's it for us here at the Game Plan Online for this week. Make sure you tune in next week. Special guest next week will be Barmer and Monash coach Dean Sherman. So thanks for watching.
Thanks, Terry. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Pleasure.